All right, guys, let's just finalize this bad boy and be done with it. Okay, so the other day we talked about slope, or it's the same as rate of change. They mean the same thing. So now we're going to take this idea of this is not slope intercept form. This is point slope form. So this is our point slope form. We get an equation that looks like this. So we're given this idea of the point xy. This is x and this is y. And that has a slope of 5. And they just want us to write an equation. Okay. So this is my answer. How did I get to that answer? Well, I know that if I look at a graph, I have the point 2 and 3 right here. And off of that, I have a slope of 5. So I have a line that's going like this somehow. And I need an equation. Well, from this point right here, which is point 2 and 3, I can say my x1 is equal to 2, because that's this guy right here. And then I can say my y2 is y2. Let me go backwards. It's y1. I don't have y2. y1 is equal to 3. Let me clean that other one up. That's pretty ugly. And this is x2 is equal to 2. Oh my gosh, I keep putting x2. It's just x1. There we go. We'll go back to that. All right. So, and I know from what they give me that I have a slope of 5. So I just take my equation here, y minus y1, which is my 3. That's going to equal my slope, which is 5, times my x minus x1. Well, x1 is 2. And that's my equation of a line. I can go farther by distributing this and do some different things. So let's go a little farther just to see the slope intercept form. So I am going to do y minus 3 equals, I'm going to distribute those, and I'm going to get 5x minus 10. And I'm just going to move my 3 over, and I'm going to get y equals 5x minus 10 plus 3. And my final slope-intercept form, if they ask for it, is this. So here's my point-slope equation. And then I just solve for y to get to my slope-intercept equation. So we're just kind of working our way through that. So then they kind of take it a little bit farther for you guys. And they say, okay, well, we want a line that passes through 1 and 3, and it's perpendicular to y equals negative 1/4 over x minus 3. So here's my answer. This is the answer I came up with. That's my answer. So how the heck did I get there? Well, let's just kind of, again, what are we given? We're given an x and a y, which is a 1 and a 3. So that means x1 is equal to 1 and y1 is equal to 3. We are given a slope. Now this is where the trick comes in. We're given a slope. That's an equal sign. Equal to negative 1/4. But we want the perpendicular slope, which is the negative slope over 1. So basically what we're saying is it's the negative reciprocal. So we flip this thing over and multiply it by a negative. So all I did was take 1/4, negative 1/4, and I flipped it over. So I get negative 4. Oh, let's just clean that up, guys. Let's just clean that up. 4 over 1. That's about as good as it's going to get, apparently. And negative 4 over 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 1, negative, I should say, is equal to 4. So my perpendicular slope is 4. So let's pull the equation together right now, guys, because we're going to do this one right here. So y minus the y of the perpendicular line, that's this guy right here. So I need minus 3, so that one, equals my perpendicular slope. See, my perpendicular slope was just 4 times x minus my y, which is 1. So we just keep putting them in that equation over and over again. Same thing happens down here, guys. Parallel means the same line or the same slope. So if I write what I'm given here, I'm given a x1 is equal to negative 2, a y1 is equal to 5, and my slope for the parallel line is equal to the same slope, and the slope's always in front of x, and that's negative 2. So let's pull my equation together. Y minus my y1, which is negative 2. I always put parentheses around here so that way I don't forget to multiply the negatives. Equals my slope, which is negative 2, times my x, and I messed this up right here. This is not negative 2. That is actually 5. It should look right here. It's 5. This should be 5. Minus my x1, which is negative 2. So then if we clean this up, we get y minus 5 equals negative 2x plus 2. And then we can clean it up and solve for y if we need to. There's a parentheses right here. All right, so slope or rate of change between 2 points, guys. So this, you could call this, this is x1 and this is y1. This is x2 and this is y2. So we take our 4.2. Don't know why I put a negative here. Not sure why I put a negative there, but we'll just call this a negative. So this is, make that a negative. Just to make the, on your paper it'll be a negative, but for this setup, it's my fault. So it's negative 4.2 minus my original y. So we got our change in y's over our change in x's, which is just what we did yesterday. So we end up with this right here. You can turn this into a decimal if you'd like. I don't know what the decimal would be, but we can find out real quick. So we're going to do, in the calculator, you would do 7.3 divided by 3.5 equals approximately 2.1. That's my slope between 2 points. You can change it into a line if you'd like, whatever they ask you to. All right, so let's look at solving equations. So we've got solving equations here. Solving equations. So you're given an equation like this. It's an equation, inequality, doesn't matter. Just some different little special rules you got to deal with. And they're both fractions. So I want to get rid of the fractions. So what I do is I multiply both sides by 2 and both sides by 3. Well, if I multiply this left side by 2, the 2's cancel, so we can call it cross multiplying, but this is really what happens. I multiply both sides by 2, right? This is what happens. You guys ready for this? If I multiply both sides by 2, these 2's cancel. And then if I multiply both sides by 3, these 3's cancel because I'm multiplying them. So I'm left with 3 times 2x plus 1 and 2 times 4x minus 2. That's what I get right here. So technically it's cross multiplying. I multiply 3 times that, and I multiply 2 times 4x minus 2. So once I get that equation, I'm just going to distribute each piece. So I'm going to do 3 times 2x, 3 times 1, 2 times 4x, 2 times negative 2. And that's where my 6x plus 3 comes and my 8x minus 4. So then I'm going to do negative 8x on both sides. That's where this comes from. So 6 minus 8x is negative 2x. And then I got to do minus 3 and minus 3. So then that's where my negative 7 comes from. Negative 7 minus 3 is, negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. And then to finalize this bad boy, I got to divide everything by negative 2. Those cancel. Here's where the special property of inequalities come from. If you divide by negative, it flips the inequality. That's why my inequality is pointed the other way. I have 2 negatives, so we end up with a positive value, and it's 7/2, or approximately 3.5. So its x is less than 3.5 or 7/2. Just solving basic equations. All right, last thing for today, guys, some more review. So we're multiplying polynomials. Some of you guys know how to do it like this. If I could actually draw a box a little better, it'd be fine. But we end up doing 2c minus 3 and 5c plus 2. I don't care if you do it this way. I don't care as long as I can see some work and know where you're going, I'm good. You don't have to do it either way. So I split mine up. So I take 2c and move it here, and I put negative 3 and I move it there. Just like I take 2c here and I put negative 3 there. So then all I do is I distribute. 2c minus 5c is 10c squared, which on this one, 5 times 2 is 10. C times c is 10c squared. And then I do 2c times 2. 2c times 2 is 4c, and that's where my 4c comes from. And then on this other side, I do negative 3 times 5c, which is negative 15c. And if I go negative 3 times 5c, I get negative 15c. And then finally, I do negative 3 times 2, gives me my negative 6. And look at negative 3 times 2, gives me my negative 6. It's all the same stuff, guys. It's just the way you organize the problem that's beneficial to you. And then all I do at the very end is I combine these two numbers right here. And so 4c minus 15c gives me 11c, and that's my answer right there. And if you look, 4c minus 15c is right here, which gives me 11c, and there's my 10c squared, and there's my negative 6. And we get two different ways to get the same answer. So that's kind of how you tackle some of those guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck, and we'll do a couple in class. Bye.